Hello everyone and welcome back to the 3T Path channel. My name is Giridhari and today we have a special class where we're going to be seeing the original Vedic concept of woke. And we're going to be seeing also, I'm just going to do a little history on this term woke, where it came from in modern times, and then after we've done that, how it came into politics, and then we're going to go back all the way thousands of years to see the use of the Sanskrit term for woke, Unidro, in the Bhagavad Purana, in the description of a great yogi, Shukadev Goswami. And we're going to see how we can then get this concept, this ancient view, the Vedic woke, and see if we can integrate that with the current ideas of what the best version of woke, the good stuff that's behind woke, and go beyond all the polemic and the weird stuff that came up from it as well. So let's take it a look. So here we go. This is the evolution of woke from consciousness to controversy, including the original woke from ancient Vedic times. So the modern history of woke has its historical roots, and the term woke has its origins in the African American vernacular English. So we go back to the 1930s, we have the first documented use of the word woke in Lead Belly's song, which warns against racial threats. And then in the 1960s, we have William Melvin Kelly's article, "If You're Woke, You Dig It," which further popularized the term during the civil rights movement. So what we have in the birth of woke was just a simple thing amongst the Black community of like, look, stay alert because there's so many threats, people were being killed. Just stay woke, stay alert, and make sure you don't get caught by racist criminals, and so stay woke, fight against the racism. But then we see in the 21st century, so the term was kind of laid, to rest in a way. It wasn't like an important term for a long time. It wasn't in the radar of most people. But then in the 21st century, we see a resurgence of the topic in 2008 with the song "I Stay Woke," emphasizing awareness. And then in 2014, things really come to light with the whole Ferguson protests and the Black Lives Matter movement after that horrific incident in 2014. So then we see the term coming to light, and then of course the term gets an expansion and goes beyond racial issues to encompass a broader range of social injustice topics. So we see the term being expanded. And then of course what happened is this was also at the same time as social media was really taking off. In the early 2010s, social media is taking off, and so we see the influence of the spreading of these ideas on Facebook, on what was then Twitter. We see the term woke becoming popular, and hashtags and movements, hashtag stay woke and the hashtag Black Lives Matter. This is spreading like wildfire. And with this, you have some positive connotations. You have activism and awareness. And then we have a cultural shift where the term is now associated with a cultural shift towards more inclusive and equitable societal norms. So we see this. It was dramatic changes to our culture and society. And of course, because they were so dramatic, this generated the negative connotations as well. So we have the critique from the right. Of course, there was a resistance as the movement started going what some people was just going too far or being too much, too intense. And then so there was this big kind of a push back, which is a natural process in any in any society of changes, and then the changes, are pushed by some people and resisted by other people. And it's this balance that makes humanity what it is. We get to a middle ground, as it were. So it's quite natural. It's not a bad thing that there's, so much polemics, but it was, it had to happen because it was a movement that came with so much strength. So then there was a pushback, and of course the accusations of virtue signaling, cancel culture, and of course identity politics being linked to woke. So everything started getting quite heated. And then Elon Musk creates the woke mind virus. He comes up with this term, woke mind virus, and in 2022, and he frames it as a societal threat. So this whole movement that was growing against woke gets spearheaded by what became what's today probably the most influential human being on the planet. And then he defines it as promoting divisiveness and undermining civilization. So a huge movement against what became woke, what became this push for what was seen by most people as too many changes, was spearheaded by this idea of the woke mind virus. And then of course the term woke mind virus is then used in politics, and DeSantis is an example in 2023 of using as part of his critique of woke, and it became like one of his major things is to fight woke. So all these politicians started using the anti-woke flag, became a very popular movement. And of course, so there's lots of polarization around the term woke, a polarizing topic, and lots of ongoing debates as to what is good and what is going too far. And in entertainment, we have we see accusations of woke washing. Just like we did you see lots of greenwashing where people pretend to be ecological companies. All the companies in the world had to do some greenwashing. It was all mostly pretend. And so woke washing is there as well, where people in companies pretend to be working on justice, of social justice, but actually they're not really concerned with that. And then lots of news and opinions, media coverage, analyzing and fighting against the anti-woke movements, fighting for woke movements. It became quite polemic. And of course, it became a global thing. It started in the US, but this has spread all over the world. UK, France, Brazil, Hungary, all the politicians using and fighting against woke, or, fighting for, not using the word woke, but fighting for some concepts of social justice, which others were identifying as woke. So woke became a negative thing to fight against, and that generated a lot of movement. And then of course we culminated with this culminates with, the red wave with Trump's election, huge red wave. It was basically a moment, I think it's a watershed moment where the populace said, look, we are tired. The woke movement did go too far, and there was a resistance that came from it. And you can see that this resistance is now probably going to spread to Europe and other countries as well. But anyway, let's look at the original woke. Let's look at the Vedic woke. So the Vedic woke, for that, I'm going to be showing you the term Unidro, which means awake or alert spiritually, not necessarily politically, but the real woke, which I think we should all cultivate for sure. And this is from the Bhagavad Purana, the first canto, 4th chapter, verse 4. And it's a verse describing the great Shukadev Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, the one who is speaking the Bhagavad Purana. And so I'm going to read to you the Sanskrit, and then we're going to look at the translation. So the Sanskrit goes like this. Tasya putrum mahayogi samadrin yirvikalpaka ekantamatir unidro gudhomudha iveyate. Translation. His son is a great yogi of equal vision without false notions, with one pointed mind, woke, though hidden, as if deluded, he wonders. So here we see the great sages, this is the great Sage Shukadev, look at his state of mind. He's a great yogi. Why? Because he is samadrin. He is sama, the word sama state in English, same. Sama, same dream, vision. So he had the same vision, equal vision. This is a key quality of yogis, also described by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. So equal vision. The equal vision is there because you have one pointed mind. You can see your mind is unified. And you can see the unity in everything. Your mind is unified and you see unity everywhere. Why? Because you can see that every living thing is a soul. You don't distinguish so much from the bodies because the bodies and the mind covering the bodies, these things are in constant fluctuation. These things change all the time. Your mind is this way now, and maybe it was some other way 10 years ago, and you know, like in 3 months from now, it's gonna be so your mind's always changing, your body's always changing, and of course, in a larger scale, you're reincarnating, so your body is changing hugely. So all these changes, they're all superficial. They're on the surface. And the yogi sees Sat. He sees what's everlasting truth. And the everlasting truth is that you are a spark of God. You're a soul. You're an eternal being. So that's the vision of the yogi, seeing everyone as an eternal being. So how can we use that? How can we start comparing that woke with the current idea of woke? So we can see that in the yogi's journey, the path of enlightenment involves seeing beyond superficial differences, similar to the essence of being woke in modern times. So we want to reduce this emphasis on the external things. So if the person, you know, is gay or not gay, if the person is white or black, like who cares? That shouldn't be a thing. That shouldn't matter at all, because you're going deeper. You want to go deeper, of course, in the yogic terms. You want to go all the way to the soul level. So we want to go deep beyond any surface differences, any differences in habits. And the similarities both advocate for awareness, consciousness, and transformation. So the woke movement had this very positive impact of, you know, stimulating this change towards a more egalitarian society, more justice, social justice for all. But the difference is that the spiritual woke is more focused on your inner peace, on your inner self, on the unity in a spiritual perspective. And the yogi won't necessarily be fighting for social justice and reform, because that might not be your dharma, that might not be your inclination, because the inclination to fight for social justice and reform is a special type of personality. And, you know, all glories and blessings to them. You know, let people who are inclined to be involved in politics, you know, do their thing, you know, with being woke, you know, in the spiritual woke. Let them do their thing, but it's not for every yogi. It's just like politics isn't for every regular person. So, but being woke in the sense of having the vision, that, yes, that is for every person. Every person should cultivate their spirituality and their mindset, like Shukadev, being Unidro, being alert and not asleep, and seeing surface differences and ignoring the true unity below the surface differences. So how can we apply this ancient wisdom? So this unified vision, this is the key concept, emphasizing seeing all beings equally, which is akin to social justice's core. And non-attachment, encourage letting go of false notions, paralleling the critique of performative. So just go beyond attachment, go beyond the false notions. And that's something we can all bring to our lives today. And to today's world, we can use spiritual insights to inform our approach to social issues, promoting genuine change from within. That's what we really need. one problem with the reason why there was such a big anti-woke movement is because it was all being forced. A lot of things were being forced from the outside. So when you force change from the outside in, naturally there's a resistance to it because we want to be free. Humans naturally tend to want freedom. It is our nature to be free. So when people start imposing too many rules on you from the outside in, you fight back, you get angry. So that's what happened all over the world. People fought back and they got angry. And so you had this, the red wave, and you're going to be seeing this red wave expanding to other places because people don't want to be told, we don't want to be forced to change so quickly the way they think, the way they act. But we should definitely use our change from the inside out. That's what we should do, which is optional. It's an individual thing. It's when you're ready for it. But we definitely encourage it, but we won't force it. We're not going to go forcing. You don't force people to become yogis. You don't force people to become spiritual. There was no such thing in the history of yoga or spirituality. We never force people. God doesn't force people to change. He teaches, he comes, brings Bhagavad Gita, gives instructions, gives examples. His servants go around the world teaching, giving their example, encouraging people, but never forcing change. So that's an important point, to have genuine change from within. So with this, I encourage this blend of the spiritual woke with social awareness for a balanced, impactful change. And, as a thought-provoking idea, for people to have a deeper understanding of these terms and concepts and to foster a more nuanced understanding of our shared humanity. That's the most important thing we can do, to do our best to grow and to cultivate our shared humanity. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know what you thought of that and in your thoughts on the term woke, and have your rest of your day with lots of peace and lots of love.